Hi everybody, this is Ospreyeye from MyChartCoach.com, and we're going to take a look at some more ticker symbols that were in play today. Okay, here's SPI. This was the big winner today, closed up 319%. It just kept running, pushed through major moving averages here, through the middle Bollinger Band, the 50, the 100, and it actually closed above the 200-day simple moving average at 175. That is the key level to turn into support. Tomorrow, if the share price stays above 175, that should signal more upside potential, and it could possibly run up to this 300-day simple moving average at 309. If you see a drop below the 200-day simple moving average at 175, that will be a red flag signaling downside risk. You could see the candles work back into the bands and pull back to the 100-day simple moving average at 111. So yeah, this was a really big move today on a giant volume spike. If the candles do work back into the bands, look for support to hold at EMA 4 and the 100-day simple moving average. If it fails to break, you could see a drop all the way down to the middle Bollinger Band. This is a really nice uptrend on the 15-minute chart. As you can see, the candles were riding EMA's 4 and 8 support higher the entire day. It looks like towards the end of the day the chart was going to start breaking down with the close below EMA 4, but it quickly held this level and it ended up closing above EMA 4. So that was very, very strong. You know, as long as this EMA 8 is holding, the chart is holding up well. But if it breaks below, you could see a drop all the way down here to the the bottom of the channel currently at 150, and then the middle Bollinger Band at 133. Which is a big drop from $2. If it does drop below the middle Bollinger Band, that's going to be a major red flag signaling downside risk. If you see the 50 simple moving average is all the way down at 82. So when a stock is up 300% in the day, there is downside risk if it pulls back. So yeah, so we'll keep an eye on this tomorrow to see if it can continue. There was a really big volume behind the move, and the 15-minute chart closed super strong, so that there was no sell-off end of day. So yeah, the charts are signaling more upside potential. Keep an eye on that 300 simple moving average on the daily chart. So let's look at OPGN. This is a thinly traded stock that had a nice dead cat bounce today. There was this small gap on the chart between the 22nd and 23rd. That gap did fill today, and there was a close above EMA's 4 and 8. Notice how they've been a resistance on the way down. It hit EMA 13 here. That's going to be the big level to break. If it can get above this middle Bollinger Band at 80, then it could really get going. As you can see back here, the middle Bollinger Band has been resistance. There hasn't been a close above the middle Bollinger Band in many weeks. So yeah, keep an eye on 80. It's going to need to break that 80-81 level. If it does, then we could see a run up there into the 90s. Yeah, so this chart is heating up. It just needs to follow through. That you keep in mind, this is a really strong downtrend, and so far this is just a dead cat bounce in a short cover rally. In order to be more than that, it needs to turn the middle Bollinger Band into support. Okay, so Bitcoin has been on fire. If you look here, it was up to 27.53, and then it pulled back and ended up closing at 24.85 or so, and yeah, 24.72. It ended up having this big pullback, and so that was putting pressure on the Bitcoin stocks that we're following. And so one is BTCS, and as you could see here, it had closed yesterday above the 50, the 200, and the 100-day simple moving averages. Really strong close above the upper Bollinger Band. Today it had a gap up open with today's candle forming well above the upper Bollinger Band, and then notice how a doji formed. This is a doji candlestick. This creates a bearish pattern. If you look here, this creates bearish doji star. So this is a really strong reversal pattern. If the share price fails to rally higher tomorrow, look at this 10 to 11 level as the key support level to hold. The 200-day simple moving average is at 9.5. So between 9.5 and 11.5, this should be big support. It should hold right here if it does pull back and the chart stays strong. This is a really nice uptrend going. It just got a little bit ahead of itself here. That's what the doji is signaling, a little indecision. The candles will likely work back into the bands. As long as it gets this bounce off of EMA 4, that would be really strong at 10:06. As long as it's holding, this 50-day simple moving average, the candles are forming above the middle Bollinger Band. This is a really nice uptrend. It's just, it's nice to sell the rips and then reload on the dips, on the pullback. Notice there was a big volume spike today, so that's looking like a climax spike when you get the, basically just keep in mind that dojis and uptrends after gap up open signal danger. This is doji equals danger when it's in an uptrend, especially when it's a gap up open above the upper Bollinger Band. Okay, so let's look at GBTC, and this is another, this is the Bitcoin stock that has been amazing. It ran all the way up to 560 today, and then it pulled back, and it formed an indecision candle as well. This is a spinning top, very similar to the doji. It closed below the open. And so even though it was up on the day, the black candle is signaling that the bears were in control into the close. Lots of indecision as well. Candle forming well above the upper Bollinger Band. This could easily pull back into the bands, and you could see, near 100-point drop all the way down to the EMA 4 at 381. So yeah, keep in mind there's an unfilled gap down here. So on a big pullback, you're looking at a potential drop down to 280, 290 to fill this gap. There's big volume behind the move with a climax spike today. This is looking like a climax spike. When we see a black candle form in an uptrend after a gap up open, we like to head to the sidelines. Okay, let's look at CBK. This is another stock that had a nice move today. The technical development here was the close above the middle Bollinger Band. The red flag on the chart is this gap. There's a gap between high of day yesterday and low of day today. If this middle Bollinger Band fails to hold, you can see a pullback in this gap fill. This is once again, this was coming off the bottom of the chart. It did close above the middle Bollinger Band, so that's really nice. That was a strong move. If it stay above this like 118 level, then a new uptrend could begin. It hit this 50-day simple moving average zone and pulled back, so that's going to be the next key level at 127.6. And bulls are looking for this type of move back here. You want to see the middle Bollinger Band hold, a break above the 50, and then a run. This actually ran up to the upper Bollinger Band, and this upper wick came close to hitting the 100. So we're looking for a potential similar type of move here. You've got a pinched MACD wanting to bull cross on the 12, 26, and 9. The 8, 13, and 5 is already bull crossed. There's a PSAR bull flip. There's a bull cross on 80X, and then you've got RSI just broke 50 with a lot of room to run until overbought levels, and Fasto broke 50 as well. Okay, let's look at DWT. Okay, this is a 3 times inverse crude, shorting crude oil. It had a really nice bounce today. It bounced off the 100-day simple moving average. It closed above the 50. What we're looking for is a potential close above the 30-day simple moving average at 30.44. If that can happen tomorrow, then it could get a new uptrend. The last time that happened was back here. Look in April. It closed above the middle Bollinger Band on this candle right here, and a really long uptrend followed. So it could get a similar type of move, and you could see a potential 20% gain back up to 36 if that middle Bollinger Band turns into support. Okay, let's look at EBIO. This is another stock that had a nice move today. It's heating up. Whenever you get oversold levels on Fasto and RSI, below 20 is oversold, below 30 is oversold, and then you get a break above, that's a signal the chart is heating up. That just happened today. This is a signal, another signal. You got the red line crossing the black line to the upside. That's signaling the bulls are heating up. Notice how SPI spiked up. This is another dead cat bounce play. Notice it's just like the other chart where it's bouncing off the bottom. It closed above EMAs 4 and 8. Notice how they ride EMA 4 down. It's got to break this EMA 13. If it can get above that tomorrow, then you could possibly see a run up to 166 in the middle Bollinger Band. So keep an eye on EBIO tomorrow for potential follow through. And then another one to look at is MEIP. This is pretty interesting here. It had this nice close today above key resistance levels. There was this notice this descending resistance line and this big this is a 1-year chart on this long trend. There was this basically a symmetrical triangle pattern. This is descending resistance and ascending support, and today there was a break above above the descending resistance line. That's very bullish. There is an unfilled gap on the chart. So on a pullback, you could see the gap fill and a pullback to like 172. That would fill the gap. The next targets, as you can see, it's hitting this resistance zone between 195 and 205. This previous trading range back here in August. And so if it can break above 205, then you could potentially see a run back up here around 230 or so. So yeah, so this is looking really nice on this breakout. This is a very bullish breakout, especially when it's on a volume spike. Look at it's the biggest volume in several months. You have to go all the way back here to November, the last time there was this much volume. You've got this parabolic move on MACD line. Notice how the MACD line spiked up. You've got the parabolic move on ADX. The last time it got really parabolic like that was back here. And I mean, there was a couple other parabolics, but this is a big line, and that was back here when it had this really big run. And so keep an eye on it. We'll see if it can continue. The red flags are it's at overbought levels on RSI and Fasto, so it remains to be seen if it can head higher. It did push higher above RSI on this past run back here in August, and then again back here in February. So yeah, we'll see if this can be more than we'll see if the candles can keep pushing higher, if it's going to work back into the bands. Okay, thank you very much for viewing this video. And if you'd like to learn more about charts of technical analysis, please check us out at mychartcoach.com and our YouTube channel at mychartcoach.com. Thank you.